I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory. Kahaloyim Yahweh. Bahasham. Yahweh Shai. Bahasham. Rachaha Kodash. Like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, you achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson.
And you live in this village? You got a husband? Who your mom? Who your dad? Your daughter. Oh, that's your daughter? You want to give me cows? Huh? You want to give me some cows? Yeah. You have to agree first. If she agrees, then you can come to the father and then you can negotiate how many cows you can pay so that she becomes your wife. How many cows do I have to give you so I can marry her? 17. How much is 17 cows?
Yeah, it's Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, right? Chapter 7, verse 23, which is in the Apocrypha, which is canon, by the way, right? This absolutely lines up with the Bible. None of those other books do. The Jasher and what do they call it? The Jasher, the Enoch, and you know, all them pseudo books, you know, don't line up with the Bible, but the Apocrypha is definitely is canon, right? So it says has thus children, right? Question mark. Instruct them and bow down their neck from their youth, right? And as you can see, that young woman was 22 years old, so she was very, very well mannered. You know, she spoke to him. She didn't, speak to him with aggression. She spoke to him soft. She minded her manners. She had a dress on. She had her hands to herself. She spoke to him with, you could tell she had some type of confidence and of herself, but she wasn't throwing herself out there, dressing all scantily clad and all this stuff. And she still lived under her father, right? Has thus daughters have a care for their body. And see, and it's kind of like pretty much like what Apostle Hart said. You people are been in America far too long, right? You don't have a true understanding of our customs and what true customs are meant to be like, right? That's why the Lord's had to come and destroy this place that's filled with nothing but wickedness, man, right? The freedoms that you have here is free to do abominations, so to speak. This thing where women is just constantly giving themselves away to this man and this man and this man. Then she waits till she's 45 years old, and then she's, I think I want to settle down and have a family now. I finally did everything I needed to do. My career is where I needed to be, and I made the money I needed to make, and now I want to have, but you're highly polluted, right? No, and you want to do it while the body is still nice, young, right? Because that lady says she's 22. Normally, when you go into to that side of the world, it's even younger than that. That you marry your daughter off. But as you can see, the dude said something about 17 cattle. A lot of people probably watch. She ain't already married off because a lot of they don't have 17 cattle. They don't have the value of 17 cattle. Why? Because Esau is it's plagued the world, and caused a lot of people to become debtors, right? In debt, not having the value that the way the Lord had set it up to be, because even once the heathen do their 1,000 years of servitude, and then the Lord gives their land, they're going to live good. They're going to have enough cattle and different things so they could trade, so they could trade for their wives, and you know what I mean. And they're going to be, you have a village, and there's going to be no woman not married, right? Even amongst the heathen, right? It's going to be, So it says, and shew not thyself cheerful towards them, right? And you see the father, he was right there in that thing. He didn't go over there, oh, like a corny guy. He stood there and looked at him, and he was very serious. He didn't come with no guile, no shucking and jiving. He's just straight up say, "Whoa, you want my daughter? That'd be 17 cow." Right? And he would be proud to be able to do that, showing you that's the ancient way of the world. Because it says what? Marry thy daughter, and so shall thus have performed a weighty matter. See, and that's what that dude, if was a dude named Speed, if he would have gave him the value, or actually gave him 17 cows, you could see he would have been a very proud man to give his daughter away in that manner, because what? He performed a weighty matter. Someone who can afford 17 cows is someone who have the financial stability. And if you see the dude Speed, I watched some of his things. He seemed like he has a pretty decent character as far as, his how he is. And plus he's an Israelite. But far greater than that, than just being an Israelite, or being a nice person. It has to be better than that. What? But give her to a man of understanding. See, and that's ultimately what should have been done, right? A righteous man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And I'm pretty sure the dude Speed is a very nice guy. I don't think he would mistreat the woman or anything like that. But the thing is, ultimately, it's about giving your daughter to a man of understanding of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But obviously this dude, he's a very driven person. He knows what he wants, and he's been going after it. So you can't get mad at that too much. It's just the main thing is about following Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Has thou a wife after thy mind, right? And she's, I don't know, she's some regular African nation, Hamitic nation. We can have the women of the other nations, right? That's concubines, right? So that would be his concubine. That wouldn't be his main wife. His main wife would have to be an Israelite. And as I said, I'm not sure he's a man of understanding. Would he would know that? See, because he would probably and put her above a Israelite woman, and that's not to be done. So, not to say she ain't your wife, and you don't treat her with honor and respect, but not over an Israelite woman, right? It says, forsake her not, right? But give not thyself over to a light woman, right? So especially, these women of America, they're simple-minded, man. So you kind of you got to be like a passport bro to get a decent woman. Because over in America, hey, man, was it the Belle Biv DeVoe says she's poison? You had that old song, was it American Woman? I think Lenny Kravitz did a rendition of it, The American Woman, Stay Away From Me. And that's what it is, man. An American woman is poisonous, and she needs to stay away from you. So that would probably be his best thing he should do, right? That would be very beneficial to the brother Speed, She was very beautiful, very well-spoken, very well-mannered. Because you could see she was raised in a certain type of way. Not to be a hooligan, not to be some wild project chick out there, hood brawls. Another chick in the hood brawl. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It says, honor thy father with thy whole heart, right? And that is an honorable thing for a young lady to marry a man of understanding. And that's an honorable thing for a man to have a woman who's after his own heart. La'ab meaning your mind, right? A woman that wants what you want, and that's the whole point of a woman being a helpmeet, right? Because if you're successful, means it's going to make her life better, right? The way you're supposed to, it's not a selfish thing where, he makes all the money, he does all these things, and you need to get your own. You have a lot of that in these marriages and especially in America. The woman makes her own money, the man makes his own money, and then you just split the bills and you buy whatever you want to buy, what you think, instead of it being, hey, look, this is the money we put together in a pot together as a family. And in that way, of course, we still have to do certain things as a thing, set out a cut for investing, cut for the bills, everyday living. You know what I mean? Then you got to have that, what do you call it? Nest egg, so to speak. And then all your wives understand that. Okay, this is an investment. This is the bills. This is the nest egg. And everybody's putting their thing in so it benefits the family. Not just so you're just this selfish person only really looking out for yourself. Just to say that you're married, And that's the way you honor your father, right? Right, which ultimately your heavenly father, but your earthly father too. That gives them honor, right? And forget not the sorrows of thy mother, right? Because your mother, she spent 10 months, right? Which they normally say 9 months, but it's actually 10 within the mother's womb. She had the birth pains and to bear forth and to bring you forth. And when you have a certain way of behavior and taking care of everything and marrying your daughter off and she having a good life because she has a man of understanding, showing that she has these great manners. She ain't been out there being wild, doing all these different things. There's a certain amount of respect, not just her husband. If you've seen that woman anywhere, you have a respect for her, right? You had married. You're from a different country. Oh, you have these different customs and traditions and things, showing you this. It's the Eastern customs, right? You have to marry your daughter off. You'd be like, damn, I wish I had that. That chick most likely she's 22 years old and she's a virgin, guaranteed, right? And that would be his. No one ever touched it. It's like having a something. It's custom. Yeah, it's custom made for you, bro. Right? Yeah, this is Tobit chapter 4, verse 3 says when he had called him, he said, "My son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother, but honor her all the days of thy life, and do that which shall please her, and grieve her not." Right? Being your mother's the one who gave birth to you, who raised you, who ultimately, the way where it's supposed to be is she's the one who first started teaching you the scriptures, as far as teaching you the law, statutes, and the commandments when you're young. Day and night, she can go over the thing, and it builds you up as a man. It builds you up as a person, so that way you have that honor. You have, you have integrity, right? It builds integrity, especially when they're building you up like that. And it says, "Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee," right? Saying your mom keep you out of those dangers, right? The love of a mother keeps you out of a lot of dangers because she raised you. But the father, being he's there, at least that's the way it's supposed to be, right? And this is why you don't have that here in America, because that's the way it was meant to be. The father is supposed to be the one who gives you away to that man. And if a man's willing to give up 17 cattle to marry you, yeah, you're not gonna have baby mama, baby daddy drama. Oh, that's just my the hood is so dysfunctional. They even made songs. Oh, that's just my baby mama. That's just my baby daddy. Right? I remember that song. I forgot who sang that. I don't know if that was Two Live Crew. I don't remember who it was. But yeah, that's crazy, bro. So dysfunctional. You gotta create songs, and I mean, and you gotta, it's funny, yeah. It's truth and jest, right? Because man, you gotta laugh to keep from crying, bro. It's crazy, right? But your mother saw what? Many dangers for thee, right? When thou was in her womb, right? And when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. That's an honorable thing. Like, man, people don't even think like no thing like that these days. Well, especially since Esau probably try to charge you with some type of craziness to do it like that. But you got to think of that's how, that's crazy. That's whew. That's, the way it should be, man. You're honoring your mother. You're honoring your father. Right? He's even honoring the marriage in death. Put her in one grave with me together, right? The two became what? One. You left your mother and your father. When you marry a woman, you two become one. Even in the grave. Hey, when she died, put her in the same grave as me, right next to me. Bro. Yeah, so this is Proverbs chapter 1, verse 8. It says, "My son, hear the instructions of thy father," right? And see, your father must be there. I don't know what told the plantation Christianity that the father ain't supposed to be there, and it's okay, woman thou art loose. You know what I mean? TD Snakes, you know, and then, you know, then not to mention he gives, when he finally falls off, he gives his so-called ministry over to his daughter when it tells you that suffer not a woman to teach, right? Just all out of disorder. This is this place, man. Out of order. A woman should surpass a man, right? The father is always honored first. You have to listen to the instructions of your father, of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, right? This is really dealing with the scriptures, right? But this, you know, your mother is actually supposed to teach you the law, right? When you're young, and you're a youth, before you become 12, then you know, of course, your father shows you the ropes in being a man. You know, you have to work with the 7 years and show you how to build up and become a man, right? Shows you how to have your weapon and your phylacteries, your things, not only knowing the laws but performing the laws in your daily life, right? For they shall be an ornament of grace. See, and then when you're raised a certain particular way, this thing is going to come off gracefully. You can see that young lady, you can see the gracefulness of, it's not really necessarily the law, statutes, commandments per se, because those are heathens, but you can still see she was raised right in the right way. She has to wait for her father to give her away. And it has to be someone to come up and have the 17 cattle to give to her. And she said, yeah, if she wants to be with you, she'll let me know, but you still have to give me the 17 cattle in order for me to give you away to my daughter. And I have to approve of it. Right? Just like it says in the scripture. And we're talking, this is 2026. Right? Or that was maybe 2025 or 2026. Right? I'm pretty sure that's pretty new. That might have been just maybe last year or which is what, a couple of weeks ago. Right? So it's fresh. We're talking this so-called century, the 21st century, and they're still keeping the customs. No, you got to come, right? And that's where you other people are lost. You think you believe in God, and you don't believe in the power the right way, right? Because you're not used to the Eastern customs. You have an Eastern God with a Western custom mentality. You call on God and Jesus, well, which is not his name, Jehovah, and Jesus is not his name. His name is Yahweh, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai, and those are Eastern powers. Those are Eastern, doctrine, right? That's an Eastern doctrine. It's not just, you're just doing your own thing. And that's the thing with this place, America, right? It's supposed to be like ornaments, like, people be rocking their jewels, it's so you can shine. But this is your way, your customs, it's like an honor, it's a grace to show who you are. And that young lady, man, even though she was a heathen, you could see the grace on her because of how she was raised. You know what I'm saying? Unto thy head and chain. Yeah, and chains about thy neck, right? Which is talking about the law, statutes, and commandments, but the law, statutes, commandments, which your mother would teach you, would have you walking in a totally different way, right? Right? If you knew That's how things are meant to be done. If you knew sex was marriage, you wouldn't just throw yourself out there, right? Yeah, so this Ecclesiasticus chapter 26, starting at 1. Blessed is the man that haveth a virtuous wife. See? And that woman is definitely a virgin. Right? 100%. You can see the grace in her, the way she was raised. You can just see it. I don't have known nothing about her. You could just see how her mannerism, the way she stood, and she spoke to him. And when he said, are you married? She like kind of looked down. No, I'm not married. Like, man, she's straight humble, bro. She wants to be married. That's an honorable thing within her village, amongst her people. Right? The highest thing is not to get on TikTok and twerk. You know what I'm saying? That's not, let me be an Onlys fan. If I can get all this type of money off of OnlyFans, or let me go be a bottle girl, which that's finna dry up, right? Real soon. Right? Then what do you have? You have nothing, For the number of his days shall be doubled. See? And that a virtuous woman gives a man a lifespan, increases his lifespan. See, but these women in America, the reason why you outlive a man is because the arguing, going back and forth, just nagging. You nag the man to death, man. Right? But a virtuous woman, a virtuous wife at that, right? Because sex is marriage, whether you understand it or not. Which Lord willing, I'll get to that. It says a virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, right? That's a joy, man. You seen how your boy Speed was smiling at her? You see the joy he had on it? He's like, what? You're not married? Where's your hey? And then hey, bro, if he didn't do it, I'm pretty sure in that moment he was really considering that. Like, you could see it lit his face up, bro. His face was lit, bro. Then that little thing that they kind of put at the end, of showing how it would look, man, that looked dope, bro. He had his crown on, remind you of the kingdom, bro. That's the type of thing we're gonna have, man. Bro, it's gonna be beautiful. And he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. God. Hey, there ain't no peace here in America, man. You ain't got no peace with a so-called black woman, so-called Latino woman. She gonna cuss you out and try to cut you, a Latino woman, man. She gonna grab her knife. You gonna go through all sorts of things, man. She gonna be, sleeping with all your homeboys and her work husband. All this other madness that they do here. You don't have no peace. Your children ain't yours. All sorts of things happen here, man. Right? A good wife is a good portion, right? Which shall be given to the portion of him that feareth Yahweh, right? And ultimately, that's what you need to do. You got to fear Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. That will give you a great, great portion having that wife, right? So rather a man be rich or poor, if he have a good heart towards Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai B'Shem Rakach Wadash, he shall at all times rejoice with a cheerful countenance. Yeah, so this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 36 and 21. It says a woman will receive every man. So when you got a woman that's out there receiving every kind of man, getting plowed by all sorts of different dudes, you don't That's that's when the woman, those are those you just you freak them off, you pay them. They're women of the night. You pay them and then you send them on their way. It ain't nothing you dealing with, right? Yet is one daughter better than another? So when you deal with a woman who's raised in a particular way, she gets a different kind of honor, a different kind of respect. She's better than any other woman that's sitting out there just letting every man get to her, man, have access to her, right? Because every man ain't supposed to have access to you, right? Just your husband. It says, the beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better, right? See? So, a man love nothing better than to plow some women. So whether I got a beautiful woman who let everybody plow her, or I got my wife who's just mine, and I can, I'm gonna love the company of a beautiful woman, regardless. But you know what's better? My wife is better, right? One who has a care for herself. Why? Because her father, her mother taught that and put that into them to have care for herself, right? Gave her those instructions, right? Not giving herself to every man, right? Says, if there be kindness, meekness, and comfort in her tongue, right? And that's what I was saying. These women here in America, they'll and nag you to death, right? Then is not her husband like another man? See, you're not supposed to treat your husband like he's just some other guy. You treat your husband with kindness and meekness and gentleness. You speak to him. You encourage him, right? You're not gonna just talk to him like any other, you know what I mean, and just do the things of this world, You see these other women calling they dudes F boys and this and that. So you go, oh, I'm gonna do that too. Like, yeah, you're followers, man. None of you are leaders, right? You're just following the status quo of BS, man. Right? Of an unhealthy thing. It says a good woman will increase her husband days. So then is not her husband like another man? Like, no. Her husband is totally different. He's nothing like any other man. You know what I mean? It says, he that getteth a wife begetteth a possession. See? And you actually belong to your husband. So are you supposed to be talking crazy to something that you're not that you're possession of? You know what I'm saying? It's like the Lord said, can the pot say something to the potter that the potter can that you don't know what you're doing? I mean, I get, the husband's not that, but he's, just giving an example, just saying the Lord owns us. He's ruled over us. We're not supposed to be able to say something towards the Lord. And just like you're not supposed to be able to say something against your husband like that. Right? And it says, a help like unto himself. See, when the two leave father and mother and become one, we're one person. So what helps me helps you. We become one. What helps you helps me. and a pillar of rest. See? And so therefore she brings that rest, which gives him longer life, longer days, right? It gives him peace, gives him rest, but also gives you peace. It gives you rest, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and read this real quick. It says, where no hedge is, right? You know, a woman who don't have, because a hedge is for protection. You don't know proper etiquette of being a woman, being soft, kind, gentle, right? You don't know the proper etiquette of being a woman, so there's no hedge. So you just talk reckless, however you want to talk. Where there no hedge is, there the possession is spoiled, it's taken, right? In which a lot of you are taken by this system, the Edomite system, right? You know, you on your Section 8, and you get your SNAP and this and that, and now you don't got to listen to no man. I could do bad all by myself, which you're going to. You're going to eat those. A lot of you women are going to eat those words, man. And it ain't going to taste good, right? You know how the Lord spoke about the scriptures? It was honey in my mouth, but bitter in my stomach. You're not even going to get that. It's going to be bitter in your mouth, bitter in your stomach. It's going to bring forth you misery, and you're going to be unalived in these last days with no protection, right? Because you don't even know to seek the Lord, right? So you know, you're spoiled, you're taken, you're robbed. Your life is going to get taken from you, right? And he that haveth no wife will wander up and down mourning, right? And that's what's going to happen to a lot of these dudes, man. They thought it was cool to jump from female to female and not settle down and not to man up and build up a you know, not loyalty. These niggas walk around getting tattoos with loyalty instead of building a legacy. That's what this thing is about, man. A legacy, not not loyalty. I'm loyal to the hood. I'm loyal to the game. No, I'm building a legacy. Legacy to my family, you know. And ultimately, the true legacy is Yahweh Bashem Awashai, the law, statutes, and commandments. You know. Yeah, Proverbs chapter 18, verse 20 says, a man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, right? And it also means woman too, right? Man, and there's one man, right? Basically mankind, right? And it spoke about a woman having what? A tongue of meekness, softness, gentleness, niceness, kindness, right? And then her tongue, it bringeth forth what? Peace. It gives a man double life, right? Increases his life. Doubles a man's lifespan, right? You know what I mean? You what it says, well, in the world it says, in the world they say, you catch more flies with honey than shit, right? In the world. But then even in the scripture, it tells you what? A soft word turns away wrath, right? If you gave a soft word, it builds up your legacy. You know what I mean? It says, and with the increase of his lips shall he be shall he be filled, right? Or her. With the increase of her lips, talking all that mess, I could do all bad by myself. a man ain't nothing. He ain't nothing but a dog. This and that. Well, you keep bringing that up, and then that's the type of dudes you bring around you. You end up attracting that type of man. Man, he'll hump you, then hump the other girl, then hump another girl, then come in, and then come back because you feed him like a dog. Because he know where, every time he come over, you feed him, you have sex with him, then he goes around and does the same thing, have sex with all these other women, do these other things, and come back because you feed him. Because he can. Right? But also because you're breeding that upon yourself. Because you're putting those words out in the atmosphere, out in what they would call the universe, so to speak. Right? But it's deeper than that. These things you're dealing with spirits, right? It says death and life are in the power of the tongue. See, you're dealing with the spirits. So you as a woman shouldn't be saying, my man ain't this, he ain't that, he don't want to, and he don't, you know what I mean? He don't want to have sex with me. You want to say, no, my husband, he's attracted to me. He loves me. All the things that you want, that you imagine him to be. He's successful. He's funny. He's athletic. He's whatever you want for your thing with the type of man you want. You will want to say those things, and really you will want to say it young, like that young lady. Right? Because if you look at the boy Speed, that young man, that dude got some bread, bro. He been doing his little thing, and he's athletic. I mean, you can't knock him. The dude, he's a young, handsome young man. You know what I mean? That chick will be ecstatic, but she's probably been saying those things. She's been saying, I want a handsome, athletic, funny, kind, gentle. Next thing you know, poof, here she got Speed standing in front of her. Coincidence? Well, there's no such thing as coincidence. It's what you say. You have what? Death and life are in the power of the tongue. You have to speak what you want. Right? And they that loveth it shall eat the fruits thereof. Hey, you love to speak a bunch of negativeness. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get a bunch of negative. And you're going to have to love it. You're going to have to love it. Right? So it says, whoso findeth a wife, right? That's going to speak the right things. Who, you know what I mean? Who has care for herself, who's virtuous. You know what I mean? Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth what? Wait a minute. Come on. This is ultimately what you want. And obtaineth favor of Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. So when it spoke earlier about performing a weighty matter by the father marrying off his daughter to a man of understanding, this is the weighty matter that he's talking about. Because then what? You have what? You obtain favor of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Because you performed what? A weighty matter. You have that favor. Right? Yeah. So this is Genesis 24:67. And Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent and took Rebekah, right? Which means he took her, he had sex with her, and she became his wife, right? Being that sexual sex was the marriage, right? And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted, right? Being that's what you're supposed. It says a loving woman is with comfort to a man. He's comfort, right? It says a man love nothing better than the beauty of a woman to be with it. It brightens his countenance. It comforts him, right? After his mother died. So, he was in a distraught moment in time, and right at that same time, he lost a mother, but he gained a wife, and he loved her, right? And that shows you what sex is marriage, and it can comfort you. It can give you double, it could double your days in life. Instead of having the grief, you're speaking kind and comforting words and things like that. Hey, you don't have a problem, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwadash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To your sisters, you Achwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and the Bible ball, Kwam Yasharallah.